Hello students, I am Naveela Tariq. Today we'll continue with the same chapter, that is the selfish giant. Okay, over here we had studied that the giant was so selfish that he did not allow the children to play in his garden. But then when the nature punished him, he realized his mistake and he opened the garden and the gates and as well as his hearts for the children. We'll start with the first paragraph. "It's your garden now, little children," said the giant, and he took the great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found the giant playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. Now, it's said over here that when the giant realized that the spring came back in his garden along with the children, he took a great axe, a big axe, and he broke the wall that he had built across the garden. Now when the people over there, the public, when they were going to the market at for example at 12 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, they always saw that the children used to play in the garden and the giant used to be playing with them too. All day then they played, and in the evening they came to the giant to bid him goodbye. Now throughout the day these children used to play in the garden, and towards the evening they used to come and say goodbye to the giant. "But where is your little companion?" he said. "The boy I put into the tree. The giant loved him the best because he had kissed him." "We don't know," answered the children. "He has gone away." Now this giant used to sit over there, play with the children, but he always used to miss that little boy who was unable to climb up the tree. मतलब ये जायंट सारे बच्चों के साथ खेलता था, लेकिन ये उस छोटे से बच्चे को मिस करता था जिसको उसने पेड़ के ऊपर चढ़ाया था. And he asked the children that where is that little child, but no one knew about him. They said that he has gone. वो बच्चे जवाब में बोलते हैं कि वो वहाँ से चला गया. "You must tell him to be sure and come tomorrow," said the giant. But the children said that they don't know where he lived and had never seen him before. The giant felt very sad. Now giant ने बच्चों से कहा that उससे बोलना कि वो मिलने आए, गार्डन में आए खेलने के लिए, the next day, that is tomorrow. बट बच्चों ने बोला कि वो नहीं जानते थे कि वो कहाँ रहता है और उन्होंने उसे कभी भी नहीं देखा था. ये सुन के जायंट को बहुत बुरा लगा. He felt very sad. Every afternoon when school was over, the children came and played with the giant, but the little boy whom the giant loved never seen again. The giant was very kind to all the children, yet he longed for his little friend and often spoke of him. "How would I like to see him?" he used to say. Now every afternoon this giant used to play with the little children and used to love the children a lot. He had become a very kind-hearted person, and he showed great affection to each and every child, but in his heart he always used to miss that little child, and often he used to talk about him. Years went by and the giant grew very old and feeble. He could not play about anymore, so he sat in a huge armchair and watched the children in their games and admired them. "I have many beautiful flowers," he said, "but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all." Now as you can see in the picture, children, this says that after many years this giant became very old and feeble. Feeble का मतलब होता है weak, कमज़ोर. And he never used to play with the children because of his weakness and his old age. So he used to sit in this armchair. ये armchair मतलब ये जो बड़ी सी chair है यहाँ पे, ये इस पे बैठता था, and he used to admire the games and admire the children playing outside. And he used to say that he has many beautiful flowers in the garden, but सबसे खूबसूरत फूल उसके बच्चे हैं. On one winter morning, he looked out of his window as he was dressing. He did not hate the winter now, for he knew that it was merely the spring asleep and that the flowers were resting. Now एक दिन सर्दियों में मॉर्निंग में उसने अपनी विंडो के बाहर देखा, तो उसने देखा कि पूरा गार्डन में बर्फ़ थी. बट इस टाइम वो विंटर सीजन को नफ़रत नहीं करता था, बिकॉज उसे पता है कि ये विंटर सीजन सिर्फ कुछ डेज़ के लिए आता है, बिकॉज स्प्रिंग सीजन इज़ स्लीपिंग. उसको ऐसा लगता था दैट स्प्रिंग सीजन इज़ स्लीपिंग, सो विंटर इज़ ओवर हियर, एंड एज द स्प्रिंग सीजन विल गेट अप, द विंटर विल गो एंड द स्प्रिंग विल कम. इट इज़ जस्ट द चेंज ऑफ द climate, is just the part of the year, that is winters for few days. That time suddenly he rubbed his eyes in wonder and looked. It certainly was a marvelous sight. In the farthest corner of the garden was a quiet tree quite covered with lovely white blossoms. Its branches were golden and silver fruit hung from them, and underneath it stood the little boy he had loved. Now एकदम से एक बहुत मार्वलस, एक बहुत खूबसूरत सा साइट, एक सीन उसको दिखा एक विंडो के बाहर कि बहुत दूर कॉर्नर के गार्डन में एक ट्री था और दैट वाज कवर्ड विद वाइट ब्लॉसम्स, और मतलब उस पेड़ पे सफ़ेद रंग के फूल थे, पत्तियाँ थीं और उसकी ब्रांचेस गोल्डन कलर की थी और उसमें सिल्वर कलर के फ्रूट्स खिल रहे थे, उस लगे थे उस पेड़ पे। और उस पेड़ के नीचे खड़ा था वही छोटा सा बच्चा जिसको जायंट मिस करता था। Now because it is mentioned over here earlier also that this is the winter season just now, so according to the winter season every other tree and part of the garden was covered with snow and frost, but only this one corner there was spring. That means there were leaves and there was flowers and there were fruits on the tree, which is usually seen in the spring season and not in the winter season. So he got very surprised to see such a beautiful scene in one corner of the garden, and again he was surprised to see the same little boy standing beneath the tree. Downstairs ran the giant in great joy and out into the garden. He hastened across the grass and came near to the child and said, "Who had dared to wound thee?" Now, over here it is written that he ran down the garden, and he ran down the stairs and came to the garden, went across the grass over there and came near to the child, and now his face grew red with anger. जैसे उसने बच्चे को देखा उसके चेहरे पे एकदम से गुस्सा आ गया और वो गुस्से से लाल हो गया। क्यों? क्योंकि उसने देखा कि बच्चे के हाथ पे वूंड मतलब ज़ख़म, चोट के निशान थे उसके पाम्स पे, मतलब उसकी हथेली पे चोट के निशान थे। सो इन एंगर ही आस्क्ड द चाइल्ड, "Who hath dared to wound thee?" Now this line, students, which in an inverted comma along with the question mark, "Who hath dared to wound thee?" This language is called Shakespearean language. This language was used in the very earlier time, the Shakespearean time. और ये जो लाइन है ये शेक्सपियर की लैंग्वेज से ली गई है। Who hath means dead. Who hath means had. Who had dared to wound. To wound means ज़ख़म and thee means you. Hath means had and thee means you, कि मतलब किसने डेयर किया, मतलब किसने हिम्मत करी तुमको ये चोट पहुँचाने की। For on the palms of the child's hands were the prints of 2 nails, and the prints of 2 nails were on the little feet. क्योंकि उसके बच्चे के palms मतलब हथेली पे और उसके पैरों के पंजे में, मीन्स जहाँ जो पैर होते हैं, जो पंजा होता है, फुट होता है, उस पे कील के निशान थे, जैसे किसी ने कील से उस बच्चे के पैरों को ज़ख़म दिया हो, कील ठोकने की वजह से। नाउ एक्चुअली किसके हाथों में और पैरों में कील ठोकी गई थी? रिमेंबर, इट वॉज जीसस क्राइस्ट. You all know who's Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ was the messenger of God whom Christians follow. Jesus Christ was crucified by the people who were his enemies and over a cross. मतलब जीसस क्राइस्ट को क्रूसीफाई किया गया था, उनको सूली पे लटकाया गया था, क्रॉस पे लटकाया गया था, उनको हाथों और उनके पैरों में कील ठोक के, नेल्स मतलब कील, बड़ी बड़ी कीलें उनके हाथों में और पैरों में ठोकी गई थी और उन्हें क्रॉस पे लटकाया गया था, एंड दैट्स हाउ ही डाइड. ओके, सो दिस स्मॉल चाइल्ड वॉज एक्चुअली जीसस क्राइस्ट इन डिस्गाइज ऑफ अ चाइल्ड. मतलब एक छोटे बच्चे के भेस में वो गॉड थे, वो जीसस क्राइस्ट थे. Who hath dared to wound thee? cried the giant. Tell me, I may take my big sword and slay him. Now he is saying कि giant को नहीं समझ में आया कि ये कौन है. उसको बस ये लगा that he is such a small child and who has hurt him. So he got very angry. He says that whoever has wounded you, I will take my big sword and I will slay him. Slay him means I will kill him. Nay, answered the child, but these are the wounds of love. Who art thou? said the giant, and the strange awe fell on him. He knelt before the little child. फिर वो जायंट से बच्चा जायंट को जवाब देता है ने, NAY, ने का मतलब होता है नो, कि नो, ये जो ज़ख़म है दीज आर द वूंड्स ऑफ लव, मतलब ये जो ज़ख़म है, ये जो चोट है, ये चोट प्यार की है. प्यार की क्यों? बिकॉज जीसस क्राइस्ट गेव हिज लाइफ फॉर द पीपल, मतलब जीसस क्राइस्ट ने अपनी जान अपने लोगों के लिए दी थी. सो दीज आर द वूंड्स ऑफ लव. अब जायंट को रियलाइज़ हुआ कि ये बच्चा एक्चुअली कौन है. उसको समझ में आ गया कि ये बच्चा एक्चुअली एक छोटा बच्चा नहीं है, बट दिस इज़ इन अ फॉर्म of a child and is God. Who art thou? Who art? Art means are and thou means you. Who are you? Said the giant. And the strange awe fell on him. The strange awe means a strange light, a guiding light fell on him. And he knelt before the little child. और वो बच्चा छोटे से, और वो जायंट उस बच्चे के सामने knelt means kneel down, मतलब घुटने टेक के बैठ गया. And the child smiled on the giant and said to him, "You let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me to my garden which is paradise." वो बच्चे ने जायंट को मुस्कुराया और बोला कि तुमने मुझको अपने गार्डन में खेलने दिया था, अब मेरी बारी है, तुम मेरे साथ मेरे गार्डन में चलोगे जो है पैराडाइज. पैराडाइज मतलब स्वर्ग, जन्नत. What does this mean? कि giant was going to die. This was the end days of the giant. It was the time for giant to go to heaven, to go to paradise, and Jesus Christ, that means God himself, came to take him along with him to his garden, that is paradise, जहाँ पे लोग मरने के बाद जाते हैं. And when the children ran in that afternoon, they found the giant lying dead under the tree, all covered with blossoms. Now, जब बच्चे उस दिन में खेलने आए गार्डन में, तो उन्होंने देखा दैट जायंट वॉज लाइंग डेड अंडर द ट्री, मतलब उसी पेड़ के नीचे जायंट मरा हुआ लेटा था और उसके ऊपर वाइट कलर के फ्लावर्स डले थे. मीन्स ही वॉज कवर्ड विद द वाइट ब्लॉसम्स, वाइट फ्लावर्स. सो दैट मीन्स दैट दिस जायंट हैड बीन गिल्टी एंड ही मेड अप फॉर हिज सिंस. मतलब जायंट ने जो भी गलत काम करे थे, जैसे बच्चों को भगाता था, क्रूल था, ब्रूटल था, उसने वो सारे काम छोड़ दिए थे. उसको सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन हो गया था, ही वॉज गिल्टी, और उसने उसके बाद एक अच्छा इंसान बन के रहा. ही वॉज अ काइंड मैन हु प्लेड विद द चिल्ड्रेन, हु अंडरस्टूड द फीलिंग्स ऑफ each and every child, and that's why God gave him a reward and took him to his garden, that is paradise. I hope children this much is clear to you. Thank you.